Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to another episode of Manifesting Muslimah. I'm your host, Zara Pedersen, and in today's episode, we are going to talk about how the dating apps are keeping you single. But before we get into that, for those of you who are watching on video, let's just address the elephant in the room. Or like in this case, I guess the room is the elephant. I am in a completely new setting. Okay, I'm really excited about this just because those of you who've been watching on video, first of all, thank you so much to everybody on YouTube who watches the video. I guess also on Spotify, some of you are watching the videos. I've been recording at home, but I live in a cave, like in a little cave. Like it looks like a little cave. It's actually not a cave. It is just the old Sicilian way of building homes. So they're like stone homes, like the place is like 100 years old. And it's so sweet and cozy and I really love it. But it's dark. It's a very dark little place to live, which means that all of my videos turn out quite dark as well. And that's definitely a mood if that's what you're into. Like I like that for living in. I quite like going into a place, especially my home, and feeling like it's giving me a hug. And that's definitely what I get from my home, which I absolutely love. But when it comes to videos and watching a video, I'm not necessarily super like personal, a fan of like that dark aesthetic necessarily. I quite like a little bit of air. Like I like a little bit more white and light and brightness and airiness. And my place isn't giving that. And it's been bothering me for a little bit of time, making it kind of not enjoyable for me to record the video format of my podcast at home. And so it's been on my mind for a while to just like rent an Airbnb and record my podcast there. But I've been procrastinating on it for the longest. And finally, I was like, you know what? I can keep procrastinating on it, or I can just do it and then batch record a few podcast episodes and videos, and then actually enjoy my own content. And not just enjoy my content, but also enjoy making my own content. I'm so sorry for literally, as I sat down to record, someone somewhere around here decided that they need to start. I don't know if that's a drill, if that's a saw, I don't know what it is, but it might be going on and off a little bit in the background. Alhamdulillah, it's just like on and off. It's not like a constant. So we can at least say Alhamdulillah for that. But it is what it is. I'm not going to stop recording just because I've got this place for a couple of days and I need to get a lot of episodes in before I leave again. But yeah, so anyway, I just wanted to do this for myself because I love my podcast. I love that I've started doing it also on video format. I love the new audience that I'm attracting by having a video format of the podcast as well over on YouTube. Hi, I notice you. Thank you for reaching out to me and letting me know that you found me from that. So I'm enjoying all of that. So I wanted to make the whole thing an enjoyable experience for myself. And so it became like a point of like, why am I robbing myself of this experience of also developing the podcast further, you know, and saying, well, the podcast is recorded not at home, it's recorded somewhere. And yeah, I'm going to have to invest a little bit of money to rent out a place and things like that, but it's worth it because I get to enjoy the process of doing it. And inshallah, on the other side, those of you who are watching on video get to also enjoy what it now looks like. There was nothing wrong with the way that it looked before. So for those of you who like that, I suppose, visual aspect of it, I'm so grateful and thankful to you. But it just became messy for me. It's a very personal thing. It's not like somebody said to me, get yourself a studio or something. This is very much a personal decision. This is a question of me enjoying the process of doing what I love to do. And so this was just like a very much like a personal encouragement from myself to like, hey, you're allowed to take this next step. You're allowed to do this for yourself. You're allowed to do this for your business, and you're allowed to enjoy what you're doing in your business. So just like a little off the note hint, tip, advice from me to you. Maybe there's something that you've been like, oh, I really want to take my thing to the next level, or I really want to do this thing somewhere else, or whatever it might be, and you've kind of been holding off on it. this is your sign perhaps to go ahead and do that thing for yourself as well. Maybe it's for your business, maybe it's for your family, maybe it's just for yourself, maybe it's just something like getting a massage once a month. I don't know. It could be anything, but maybe there's something that you've specifically been holding off on. Go ahead and do that for yourself. It's so worth it. I've really been looking forward to coming in here and recording these episodes. I've got like so many episodes planned because I was like, I need to like make the most out of this time that I've got this Airbnb. And it's specifically booked so that I can record podcasts. I'm not sleeping in this Airbnb. And you might have also noticed when the saw or the drill or whatever is in the background is going off, that's the only sound because I didn't bring any of my animals here. It is just me. So I get to just work without having to worry about the little pitter-patter of toes or a cat jumping in frame or a dog barking in the background. I get to just do the thing that I need to do in a setting that is just specifically intended for that, and I'm just so happy and super proud of myself for finally doing it. Anyway, I just wanted to say that so now we can actually move on to the actual topic itself, which is why dating apps are keeping you single. Oh, excuse me, I just knocked the microphone a little bit. So let's get into this because this is something that I've actually wanted to talk about for a little while. And it's something that I specifically talk a lot about with the members in my membership group, which, by the way, if you're not a member, hey, maybe consider signing up if you've been wanting to meet a partner and you've been doing a lot of online dating. So one of the things that the dating apps are doing is energetically they require you to be in a certain position. It's not just about swiping and finding a match. It's also a question of where you are at the time that you're downloading the apps and that you're creating your profile and that you're swiping with the intention to meet someone. I am so sorry about that drilling. It's actually kind of getting to me right now because now it feels like it's kind of a lot. I'm just going to try and see if I can close that top window and then I'll be right back. Okay, that didn't work. I could close one window, but I can't close this one. It's very high up and I can't reach the little latch thing. It's got like a little latch that you got to pull down, I suppose, to close it. And so we're just going to leave it. And I'm so sorry for that kind of background noise because I'm sure you can hear it. It's a little bit loud. It's annoying, but we're going to have to make do. Okay, so where was I? I was talking about the energy. So when we're going on these apps, we're very much kind of going off of vibes, right? Like, oh, I get like good vibes from this person. I like what this person is saying, but that picture is giving me a bad vibe or whatever, right? We're trying to sort of like catch the person the way, like beyond just a picture. Like I can't speak for men because I don't know, like, because I've heard some real not such great things about men on apps. Like, I don't know if some of you've heard this as well, but like that they just swipe right on everyone, just hoping to get a match. So they don't even kind of like read the profile. They literally just swipe till they get a match and then they'll look at the profile. Is that true? Like, I don't know. I've just heard that. I don't know if it's true, but if it's like, it's not that surprising to me. Let me put it that way. But for us as women, I think we don't do that. We actually try and sort of like gauge the person. We look at the pictures that they're putting up. We read what they say on their profile. We look at the stats, the information, so on and so forth. And we're trying to get an idea of who this person is. The issue is that for a lot of people, we're already coming into the dating app with an energy that isn't necessarily aligned. Our energy is kind of off a little bit for most of us. Actually, I should probably put in a little disclaimer before I continue because I didn't do it at the top of the show because I got distracted by the space and everything. But a disclaimer, I'm not saying that dating apps doesn't work at all. I personally know like a handful of people who've met their partners on dating apps. So I know that it can be done. I know that it is possible for people to meet each other on apps. But for the majority of people that I have met and that I'm coaching, the dating apps seem to be going wrong for them. And there's a specific reason. And that is the thing that we're talking about today, inshallah. So don't look at it as in like, I mean, I personally don't like dating apps anyway, but that's a personal like preference. You don't have to take that preference. I'm just going to give you like the coaching version of what you need to take into consideration before you get on these apps. Okay. So when we're going on a dating app, it's usually because we feel like I'm not connecting with anybody in like my 3D reality as it stands right now. There's nobody at my school. There's nobody at my university. There's nobody at my work. There's nobody in my social circle. So we feel like we have to branch out, and it's easy, easy, right? It's easy to just download an app, put on a couple of really flattering pictures and write a couple of words about yourself. And instantly it's like instant gratification. There you go. There's the men. They're served up to you literally in the palm of your hand, literally in the palm of your hand. Talk about window shopping next level, right? So you can just, it's such instant gratification. You're just like, okay, the whole world just opened up to me, and you can do that within your area. And then I know people who are also doing it internationally. Like, you don't have to just look within like the near vicinity of where you live. You can literally be like, I don't care where they live, and just connect with people in the other side, on the other side of the world, right? So there's a lot of like dopamine sort of rushes that go through that, and also just like getting the hits, seeing what's out there. As I said, window shopping next level, right? Looking at seeing what's out there. What are the kind of men that are out there? What's available to me? All of these things. And another thing is getting the likes. Seeing that people are swiping right on you. And as women specifically, I don't think I've ever met a single woman who hasn't like just had a ton of likes. And it's not like that she has to like everybody back. It's just like, you know, the dating apps are like, here's 100 people who are like interested in you. Do you want to like unlock and pay? And then you can see all the ones. You know, like the way that dating apps works, they're incentivizing you to basically invest money in this app for them, right? So as women, we get this like instant dopamine of like, okay, I am wanted. I am attractive. I can meet someone. And the same, I'm sure, for men. But again, I'm speaking more from the female perspective here, okay? So the problem isn't necessarily any of these things. The problem is the energy with which we approach the dating. Because quite often when we go on these dating apps, it feels like a last call. It feels like a last effort. It feels like that last possible way in which you can meet someone. That means usually, again, this is not everybody is included in this. Keep that in mind as I'm saying this. As you're listening to this episode, I might not speak to you directly if you don't experience this. This is just what I'm seeing a lot of people experiencing, and why these apps are keeping them single, is that they feel like this is the last solution for them, which means that usually before that, they've had experiences one way or another that tells them, I'm not desirable. I'm not wifey material. Nobody wants me. I never meet the right person, so on and so forth. So there's a story within themselves that is already telling them, I'm not good enough, or it's difficult to find a person. Excuse me, it's difficult to find a person, it's difficult to connect with someone. All men, excuse me, are horrible. Whatever the story is, right, that you've been telling yourself before you even jumped on the dating apps. And perhaps even you didn't have that many experiences outside the dating apps, but then you go on the dating apps and you start going on dates, or you start connecting with people and having conversations on the dates. And then you discover that some of the men there, or quite a lot of the men, just want to talk about sex, or they are, you know, trying to find someone that they can just fool around with and stuff. Yes, I know if you haven't got at those experiences, you're lucky, because it's a very common experience for a lot of women on these apps, that they'll meet very unserious people who claim to be Muslim, but are also at the same time looking for unserious things. And so very easily, if we approach these apps and our energy is already slightly off, jumping on these apps can knock us right off center, completely off the edge. We're just free falling, and not in a good way. And that's the problem with these apps. And what then tends to happen is it will then start to reinforce a story that we had a little bit of beforehand, or a new story that makes the one beforehand even worse, or adding to a new story to all the other ones we had before we even jumped on the apps. And as a result, we're now no longer connecting with people from a place of sincerity and a place of alignment. We're connecting with people out of desperation. There has to be someone for me. Please, God, like, let me just connect with someone. Just give me someone. And so we start lowering our standards, we start negotiating with ourselves, we start giving people chances that perhaps we kind of know shouldn't be getting a chance, we start thinking less of ourselves, we start just thinking that we're not worthy to find a partner in these things. And all of these thoughts, all of these things that we then start saying to ourselves over and over again become a way to knock our energy slightly more off course. And as a result, we're now on the apps with an energy that is desperate to connect, rather than one that says, hey, if I meet my connection here, great, but if I don't, at least I know what's out there. Like, now I know what I could potentially find, and it's just reaffirmed within me the knowledge that clearly I'm not the only single Muslim left in the world, but there are plenty others who are also looking for love, so I can also find love at some point, right? Which is what it should do. That was a sentence, was it? Which is what it should do. When you go on the apps, it is an affirmation for you. It should affirm to you that, hey, you're not alone. There's plenty of people who are also looking for love. There are plenty of people that you can connect with. There are plenty of people in your age group who are looking for the same things, who are beautiful, lovely, kind people, whatever. And that's it, like, to give you a sense of ease and calm. But for a lot of people, it's like, this is my last option. This is the last hope. And then everything that I mentioned before just kind of like reaffirms, like, oh, I'm not lovable. I should just settle for whatever, because I'm never going to get married, right? And that's the story then that becomes the new reality, so to speak, okay? So that's what happens for a lot of people when they go on these dating apps, which reaffirms this, I am single and I will never meet someone. And that's not what we're there for. That is not what we're there for. So what is my solution for you, by the way? Let's talk a little bit about that, because as I said, I have met people who've met each other, not just met people, I know people, very close friends of mine, who have met each other on apps. I think one of my oldest girlfriends back home in Denmark met her husband, and now father of her kids, by the way, on Tinder. She's not a Muslim. So just let you know, on Tinder, like in the early days of Tinder, I think it was like in the early 2000s, whenever Tinder came out, I actually don't know. But the point is just the same. Like, she met him on Tinder. They have 2 children. They live happily together. They're very happy. So that was like one. I've known a couple of other people who've met on various other apps, some of them also on Muzmatch and so on and so forth. So I know people can meet each other there, but the people who have met each other there are usually people who have had like energetically have been aligned in a way that is favorable to them. So they're not approaching the dating market with this desperation. They're approaching it with a certainty, almost of like, as I said again, like, oh, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And as a result, because there's not this desperation involved or included in the energy, it's much easier to connect with someone, because you're no longer just trying to connect for the sake of connection and just for the sake of marriage and getting more and more frustrated that you're not getting likes or whatever. You're just approaching it as it comes, which is the way that we all should be approaching it, right? And the same thing can be said for anybody now that goes on apps and are having these successes, is because they're going in, perhaps whether they know it or not, with an energy that is far more aligned with the success of potentially it could happen. But if it doesn't, that's okay too. I'm sure I'll find the person if Allah has it written for me elsewhere. But the people who stay single are the ones who are going in like, as I said, this is my last hope. I have to find the person here. Otherwise, I'm never going to find the person at all. So if you want to start using apps, or you are using apps, but you're like, I feel like I'm falling into the category where there's a lot of hopelessness around me. Gosh, this thing, the drilling, whatever it's called. I really hope you can't hear it that much. I'm sure you actually can. Allah really said to me, you think it's about the place, but then if you get the place, then there'll be another thing. You know, I'm learning a lesson right now from Allah, and I think I have to sit with that. You're witnessing me learning something from Allah, because at the very least, the other place, like my place, there's silence. So, you know, when you get one thing, there's another thing that might be missing. So rather than looking for perfection, you know what, I'm going to sit with this lesson for myself in time. You don't have to go through the whole process of me learning the lesson. That could happen another time, inshallah. Maybe this will be a story on a future podcast episode that I'm going to like refer back to and be like, do you remember that time? Okay, anyway. So, if you find yourself connecting with the side that's like, you know what, I'm on the dating apps and I feel like it's pushing me off course. I feel like it's making me feel more insecure. I feel like it's doing this, that, and the other for me. And it's not making me feel hopeful. It's actually making me feel hopeless. Then what I actually need you to do is delete the apps. I don't know if you already kind of expected that sort of to come out already, or like you expected me to say that. But I actually need you to delete the apps. I've got so many women deleting the apps all around. Sorry to all the apps out there, the dating apps, but yeah, I'm more interested in making sure that the women are aligned first and securing themselves before I have them download any apps. So I usually ask people to delete the apps. Delete the app. Delete the apps and focus on yourself. Focus on yourself. Make sure you know what you are worth. Make sure you know who you are, who you want to be as a wife, what you're looking for in a partner. Make sure you know what your non-negotiables are so that you don't have to start thinking about it once you meet somebody. Oh, he's so beautiful. I'm really attracted to him, but he says that he doesn't pray Salah. And maybe it'll be fine. And in reality, that's a non-negotiable for you. So it doesn't matter that he's beautiful because he's already breaking one of your non-negotiables. And so when you're securing yourself and you have that alignment within yourself where you truly know what it is that you want in a partner and what kind of partner you want to be and what kind of marriage you want, it'll be easier for you to search and look and, again, quote unquote, window shopping from a secure place where you're not being pushed from left to right and up and down because, oh, what about this one? Well, I guess I could. And what about that? Oh, well, I suppose. And what about that one? Well, if push comes to shove. No, we're not doing that. We're going in with a certainty of if the right person comes along, alhamdulillah, khair inshallah. But if the right person doesn't come along on these apps, alhamdulillah khair inshallah. So our energy is so much more rooted in security within ourselves, understanding and knowing our worth and appreciating that we know what is good for us and what isn't, so that we don't end up on the apps trying to negotiate our worth with strangers, because that's what a lot of you are doing. You're starting but maybe I should let go of that, but he said, and what if he can give me, and no. Why you don't know this person. You shouldn't be negotiating anything with them at this point. You should know your worth. You should know what you stand for. You should know what you deserve. And if you find that on the apps, alhamdulillah. But if you don't, alhamdulillah. You have your faith in Allah. You know where you stand with Allah, and Allah will always provide. Right? So that is what I want you to keep in mind. It is not me attacking the dating apps. My personal opinion of the fact that I don't like dating apps has nothing to do with the information on this. This is literally a question of, if you want to get the best results using the dating apps, if you want to use the dating apps and not feel cheapened by the experience, not feel hopeless by the experience, not feel undesirable by the experience, then make sure you're doing the groundwork first. Make sure you're coming at it from a place where you have that security within yourself and you're not seeking that validation from someone else or letting somebody else tell you what you should be seeking on those apps either. It is so important, and it can really make your whole experiences on these apps that much better, or the lack of doing that work that much worse. And the last thing we want to do in anything in life, really, but especially when we're trying to meet somebody and connect with them and create potentially a relationship and marriage with them, is doing it from a position where we now feel like we should thank the person for choosing us. That we should be grateful that they wanted us because, oh my God, I'm so undesirable, right? I could go on and on about potentially even, and this is just I'm just going to tell you because we're here now, and why not? It's a fun conversation, and I would love to hear your thoughts. So leave it in the comments, reach out to me and tell me your opinions on this. But I also, again, I'm not a fan of the dating apps necessarily, even though I know that they work for some people. But I actually believe also that they mess with the feminine and masculine, the energies there. It's really hard for me to explain, which is why I didn't want to talk into that necessarily in this episode, but I'm just going to shoot it out there as I'm kind of finishing this episode, just giving you a little bit of food to think about, right? When we meet men on these apps, especially us women, and the lines are slightly blurred because now you're not waiting for the man necessarily to approach you. You might have to approach the man. And because it can be very difficult to communicate sometimes with these people, it can force you as a woman out of your feminine and into your masculine. And as a result, it can make you the one who chases rather than the one being chased. Or pursuing, I suppose is a better word than chasing, than the one being pursued. And it can change ever so slightly the dynamics in a male-female role that has been created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it can kind of, listen, just my thoughts, I'm just going to put it out there. You can take it or leave it. It's entirely up to you. You don't have to accept it. It's just what I'm thinking. And again, what I am seeing and have experienced for myself, that dating apps have a real funny way of messing up our energies in more ways than one. And I want you to be aware of these things. I need you to be aware of these things, because it's not just dating apps, it's any apps really. TikTok does the same, Instagram does the same, because at any moment we can be logging on because we're thinking, oh, I'm in a good mood, I just want to see something that's fun, and then we can see something that angers us. And again, so it's tripping up our energy. And when we're not secure in our own energetic levels, it's very difficult for us to stand firm on the things that we're going in with. And one of the things is feminine versus masculine energy, and it does matter, because if you meet someone on the app and you were the one who was doing the pursuing, because they might not be the best at texting, or they may be a little bit more shy over text or whatever, and then you enter perhaps a relationship and you're finding, I feel like I'm not feeling feminine in the relationship, I feel like my partner is not pursuing, but it's the whole basis of how your relationship started in the first place. No, again, just food for thought. Do with that information as you wish. I'm not here to tell you what to think. I'm just giving you this information. You do with it as you want. But ultimately, what I want you to take away from it before anything else, or even before considering taking on or considering the last things that I said, is making sure that you are energetically at a comfortable place before you even download the apps. It's boring work, yes, but it's necessary work. Make sure you are on these apps from a place of alignment and comfortability, rather than a place of disalignment and desperation, because you will have two very different experiences on these apps as a result. All right, my darling, that is what I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Again, I'm really sorry about the background noise. I can't really do anything about it. I hope it's not super disturbing, because I am going to continue after I finish this one, recording more podcast episodes. Inshallah, they will stop sawing or drilling or whatever it is that sound is. But if they don't, that means that there may be more episodes with that sound going on in the background, and there's very little I can do about it. At the very least, look at the background, look at the setting, isn't it beautiful? I don't know, I'm just trying to comfort myself here, okay? Anyway, I'm going to learn my little lesson around whatever it is that Allah is trying to teach me around that, and I hope that you can take whatever you need to from this episode and find benefit in it, and help you make the most of your dating experiences if you choose to go the route of dating apps. All right, my darling, thank you so much for your patience as I took a couple of weeks off from posting on the podcast to get myself situated. Now we're back again, inshallah, on track, and lots more to come, inshallah. So I hope I will see you in next week's episode. But until then, my darling friend, please don't forget to live in love.